Hello and welcome back. Yes, today I'm not on the motorbike intentionally because I wanted to talk about something that will involve me actually showing you an item that I've purchased. Now we've talked, and there's lots of videos on helmets, which is an important part of the protection for a motorcycle. People often then talk about jackets, probably the next most important thing, and elbow protection, shoulder pads, backs, and all those kinds of safety elements. Then shoes are a big thing, boots, because obviously you want to make sure that your feet are protected, your ankles, your lower leg. And then of course trousers, knee, side, all sorts of different types of protection that you can have. But I think there are other areas that aren't talked about so much. And for me, being a musician, one of the most important things I find is hearing. Hearing is something which people do talk about, and obviously things have developed, but perhaps not as much as we should. Now, for some strange reason, I don't know why, it was earlier this year I started to become more mindfully aware of just how loud wind noise is while the helmet's on. And then as I became mindfully aware and started thinking about it, I became conscious of the ringing that I would get in my ears after a ride. And it was then that I decided I needed to do something about it. So I have found a solution, I'm very pleased to say. I've actually gone for some Loop earplugs, and I'm going to come on to those in a moment. But I just want to share a couple of other things about how I came to find these. Now, are they the best? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had too much experience. When I asked some of my rider buddies about what they were using, I did get more answers than the people I asked. Now what I mean by that is some of them had tried several in-ear protection devices and found that for different reasons some didn't work. Some of them are like, I had some foam plugs which I'd initially used. Those were the first things I tried, which I got free on an aircraft. Then it turns out you can buy those by the bag load. So you use them, get them in your ear, use them a couple of times, once or twice or however many times, and then chuck them, and you just they're a disposable item. And they were okay, but what I found wasn't so great about those is two things. First of all, they blocked out all the sound. Now while you might think that's a good idea, it isn't, because you actually want to hear the traffic. And if you've got comms, or even if you're listening to music or a sat nav, you want to make sure you can hear that as well. So my first lesson was blocking out all the sound. Now when I asked, as I say, the fellow riders what they were using, some had said that they'd found devices, but they just stuck out the ear just that little bit, such that when you put the helmet on, it made it exceptionally uncomfortable. So I then realised I was on a road to try and find something that was both able to reduce drastically the noise that I was experiencing through the helmet, but not cutting out everything, because I still wanted to be able to hear traffic around me. I obviously want to be aware of what's going on around the motorcycle at any point in time. And then the other thing that I wanted to make sure is that whatever I put in my ears wasn't being forced in to be made to feel more uncomfortable. So someone had recommended the Loop and suggested them, and I'd seen them pop up on my feed a few times. And once I clicked on one of those, then they continually come up on your feed. You know what it's like in social media, they keep going. Then I looked through all the Loop devices, and it was just, what do I pick? What do I go for? Now the one I ended up going for, and I'm just going to cut straight to the chase, is the Loop Experience 2 Plus. Now, at the time of recording, and when I got them, they were, or still are at time of recording, £39.95. Now, I did think that was quite a lot of money for an ear protection device when you compare it to a lot of other things on the market. But somebody put something in my mind a few years ago which helped me change my thoughts about that a little bit, about the cost. When it comes to glasses, they say you can never invest enough because your eyes need protecting. And at the time I was buying sunglasses, and I think the same is true for your ears. Now I'm not saying you need to spend this amount of money. What I'm saying is that I decided that I was going to invest and pay a little bit more than I had perhaps initially thought I would pay, but I'm so glad I did, because these work really well for me. Now let me explain what it is that you actually get. So it comes in a little box like this, and I'll try and get some pictures and show you on the screen as well as to what actually happens. And in the box you get your loop. If you can see that, this is the little case that they come in, and this is really handy because what I do, if anybody's seen my little bag on the back of my bike, it's got a zip in the top and these slide in there. What I will also share, by the way, this isn't sponsored, I'm not paid at all for this, nor have I been given these. It was a birthday present. It was my idea because I decided I want them, and it was like, well actually yeah, why not? So on my birthday list I added these, and this is what I've got. I was going to do a video when I got them, but I thought I'd wait. My birthday's in July and we are now October. August, September, October. So I've had them a good 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. It is October, isn't it? Yes. So I've had a good amount of trial with these, and I can hand on heart say that I do love these. Now inside the little box, you pop the box open, so there's a nice box that protects them. It comes with a rubber thing that you can attach it to something if you want to, but mine just sits inside that little zipped pocket. And then inside you've got your 2 ear plugs. So it comes as a nice little set, and then if you take these out of the case, what you've actually got is you've got a number of components even in this little device here. Now the reason I went for these Loop Experience 2 Plus is a kind of a few-fold really. First of all, they reduce the noise. I'll explain a little bit that I've understood from their literature. But can you see this white thing in the middle? That is actually something which is even more noise reduction. So what that does is that actually helps reduce the noise even further. Let me try and explain. Okay, I had to step away there because I'd lost the little leaflet which tells me all about it. So inside the box, I'll explain what's inside them, you get not only that little case with the earplugs, but you also get the whole range of different sizes that fit your ears. Now you see you've got these foam ones here, and then you've got these kind of like rubber ones, and you've got different sizes. You've got extra small, small, large, and I think the medium is the one that's actually attached. Now for me personally, the medium just works, it's fine. I was going to try the others, and I may still try the others, but the large looks too big and the small does look a bit small, so I think I'm okay with what I've got. Now what you have with this earplug, for something so small, it's quite impressive because you actually have a number of different components. First of all, you've got something called the mute, and that's the white thing that I just talked about that goes inside. Now this gives me the maximum noise reduction, but what it doesn't do is block all the sound, and that's really important. What I found is that when I have these in my ears, the in-ear communications still works. In fact, I can hear it incredibly clearly. I don't understand how. There's no batteries or anything. These are just physical, mechanical things. There's no electronics or anything in them. But I can hear really clearly, but all this sound around me, the wind noise, all of that stuff, I just can hardly hear it. But I can hear the important engine note, that little thing that puts a smile on my face. So it seems that important sounds get through, but it blocks a lot. But that mute reduces the sound. Now if I take that out, the sound is reduced, but not quite so much. Now why might that be? Well, you might go to a concert, and it might be a loud concert, and you might want to put these in. You want to hear everything, but maybe if you're close to the speakers, you don't want to hear it to the same level that everyone else is. And equally, maybe at bed, maybe you're camping, or you've just got someone who snores loudly near you. You can pop these in and they sit nicely. What you've then got, the round thing, the black on my particular example here, is what they call the acoustic channel. Now what you've then got is you've got the ear tip, which I showed you in the box. You get different sizes to choose from. Behind the ear tip there is a mesh, and then behind the mesh is a membrane, and then that all links into the acoustic channel. So there are a number of little elements inside this very simple looking device, which is tiny, potentially easy to lose, which is why it's good to keep them in the box, because that makes it harder to lose them. But what I really like about them is that goes in the ear, and then this is flat and it actually sits inside the inner ear. Now I'm not going to demonstrate it because I haven't got a particularly handsome head, but I'm sure that you get the idea that they sit inside your ear, so when your helmet's on it doesn't force it. It also allows noise through, and if this is too much you can remove that and you can allow a bit less of a noise reduction, so allow a bit more noise through. And that's why I went for the Loop Experience 2 Plus, because they have that flexibility to change the sound. They have other devices that have far more control on the amount you do and don't let in. I like simple things, I don't want anything too complicated. I just leave those in and I just put these in every time I go out for a ride. If I remember, yes. It's often I've put the helmet on, started to ride off and thought, oh, I've left my earplugs out. So I stop and take them out and put them into my ears. Anyway, so that's what I found, and for me these have been absolutely fantastic. They're exactly what I wanted. Are they right for you? Well, you know, it's all I'm sharing is what I found. I've tried the rubber thing, no, the foam thing. I had the foam ones and they were blocking all the sound out, but they also stuck out of my ear a little bit because they don't go all the way in. You don't want something that's so small it disappears in your inner channel, because that's not really your ear canal, because that's not really very good. But because these have got those elements on the side, what it does is the tip goes into your ear, and then of course this whole frame here just sits outside, so there's no way that it can go in. So yes, and when you ride you get to hear the engine, you get to hear your comms. If you're listening to sat nav, you've got that. I do listen to a bit of music, but it doesn't block everything, so I can still hear what's going on outside. Now if you go onto their website, they do have some choice of colours. I've gone for the black, as you can see, which is clearly, you know, that's black, and it's got the white thing that you can see inside there. I chose to put that in there. It actually does come with a black one as well. So if you wanted it to be all black and you didn't like the, I was trying to get it out to show you. It's in the box. I'll show it to you in the box there. There they are. So they're the black ones, and then in the bottom were the white ones. I just liked a little bit of contrast. So that's the first colour you can get a choice of. They also do something which is gold, if that's your thing. Maybe you like gold in your ear. They've got a silver, and they also have something called rose gold. So yeah, I was just looking for something very, you know, functional, nothing too, I'm not going to get too excited about the colours. And the other thing about the white is if I did drop it, I've got a chance of at least seeing the white against the black. So that's what I've chosen there. So yes, so that's just my little, and I wanted to show you with this, and I wanted to show the box, and that's it. That's how it comes. This little case comes inside there, and then of course you get warranty if you just scan the QR code and do all that kind of good stuff. So I'll put a link to their website below here. I might try and put it straight to the ones that I've got. This is not an affiliate link, just to say again, I don't get paid for any of this. Now earlier today I went out on the bike and I had a jolly nice ride. It happens to be quite sunny today, which is surprising because it wasn't forecast to be sunny at all. In fact, I think tomorrow it's cloudy, and then the rest of the week we're expecting rain. So I went for a ride and I decided to leave my camera at home. I did think, shall I just talk through this and then I can overlay it with different video and all that stuff. But I didn't. But what I did do is I've got my trusty little Ghost XL camera, which I think I've talked about before. It's currently charging at the moment, which is always on my helmet. So I did get some footage. And as you might see from some of this, I'll just share that with you now. The quality isn't quite up there with my Action Pro 5 camera, where, you know, stability is just amazing with these things. But it's still nice to just be able to show you that, yeah, there were some beautiful places. In fact, I think I got about halfway round and I did think to myself, perhaps I should have brought my camera after all. Anyway, I didn't, and the good news is because I didn't bring the camera, I didn't have to think about what to say or what to talk about. Sometimes it is nice to just get on the bike and just ride. But I did want to make this video because I think that our hearing really does warrant and justify a bit of protection. In fact, I was reading some information recently, and it was saying that the wet weather, and if you've got warm helmets on, or for some people even hats, it can actually trap moisture inside your ears, and that warmth and moisture is the perfect storm for what they talk about, potential ear infections. So they talk about maybe when you remove your helmet or take your hat off or whatever, just towel dry your ears, make sure that you're drying there and looking after them. Don't use earbuds because earbuds can shove it a bit further into the helmet. The other thing is that if you've got earwax and you're getting cold and your helmet's cold and all that, your earwax can harden, and that can lead to discomfort. And I've read some literature that even suggests that it could even potentially lead to hearing loss. It sounds quite extreme to me, but I'm guessing what they say is just, you know, make sure that if you've got earwax, maybe you get it cleaned out or try and look after that. And if you wear a hearing aid, don't forget that in the winter and the colder months, the batteries can drain quicker. So those are my few tips. I had a lovely ride out today. Took a selfie or two with me and the bike, which was quite nice. I took it because I thought, I don't know how much more sun we're going to have this year. And with the weather getting colder, I am beginning to consider, do I need to invest in a bit more wintry stuff? I've got my Oxford Super Muffs on the handlebars, which I know go against all the grain of anybody who is a purist with these classic motorcycles, but I'm more concerned about how cold my hands get than how good I look. And when you look like this, how good you look doesn't really come into it, so keeping warm is quite important. And my jacket that I was wearing, which you can see here, it's one I wore in the summer, has got a liner inside, and then I layered up a t-shirt and a jumper, and it was just great. I was quite surprised. Then I've got my motorcycle jeans, and I've got waterproofs on top of that, so I was literally the proverbial onion today as I went out for a ride, and it was great. I was just so warm. The temperature's not that cold. I think when I looked it was about 12 degrees. So we're not talking super cold, but we're still talking a bit chillier than it was. And as I layered up, I was pretty warm. So it made me think, do I really need to buy anything else? The only thing I might do is invest in some electric gloves. I've been promising myself those for a while now. And battery ones, because I don't really go out long enough to justify having them wired into the bike. So yeah, I like the idea of getting USB chargeable battery gloves. So if I do invest in any of that, I will be sure to let you know. And if any of you have any top tips for good value, let's not say cheap, good value jackets, trousers, or electric gloves, then do share, because I'm interested, and I'm sure most of the people at this time of year are interested as well. I was even considering going and buying myself a kind of a jacket and trouser suit, not something that looks good on a classic bike, but just something that keeps you protected and warm in winter. But as I say, I was quite surprised today at how comfortable I was. Didn't feel the slightest bit cold, even though it was cool out there. Anyway, that's enough for today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something from this video. Yeah, so if you've got, I mean, really this isn't going to be about heating for the winter, it's been about protecting your ears. But if you use something and you really think that what you found works, then again, do share that in the comments, because just because this works for me, you know, I'm not talking experience where I've tried many different things. The Loop earplugs for me have just been perfect because I can hear my music. I don't have so much noise, and the wind noise, it's just so nice actually. In fact, when I do leave them out, I generally know I've left them out because my ears are like screaming at me, for goodness sake, can you just shut this noise up? They sit inside the ear, they don't feel uncomfortable. So yeah, for me, I've cracked it. But maybe you've got something else. Maybe you've got a better option that might be more suitable for other people. If so, love to hear about it. Anyway, take care, ride safe, and look after yourselves, and look forward to catching up with you again. Bye for now.